Hi, Van Pappas from Between Two Trains. We got another episode we're about to bring you, but before we do, I just wanted to give a few thanks. Last month, we hit our 1-year anniversary, and I'm so proud that we made it a whole year. I want to say thanks to all the co-hosts that sat in with me: Jason Wheelock, David Carter, Eric Moss, Tom Abbott, Mark Berkey. Thank you guys for sitting in. I also want to thank our sponsors, 3411 Co-working and Oxygen Financial. But most importantly, I'd like to thank the guests that have come on the show. We so appreciate you telling your story to our community. That's really what this is all about. Thank you. And now on with the show.
Hi, my name is Theo, and you are listening to Between Two Trains. We bring you the best and brightest entrepreneurs in the North DeKalb area on the 1st and 15th of every month. Today, your co-hosts are Van Pappas and Eric Most. And now, Between Two Trains.
All right, welcome to another Between Two Trains. Today, my co-host is Eric Most. Once again, Eric, welcome back to the show.
Hello, hello.
How is Chase Bank doing? We doing strong?
We're doing well.
Yeah?
If you can't chase it, replace it. Living the dream one day at a time.
All right. Well, Eric, I am so excited to tell you that we've got some guests that I think you're really being impressed. I think our listeners are really going to be impressed with. We have Stephen Tomlinson and David Hollister with L7. And when I tell you what they do, you're going to be like, we're interviewing these guys? But I think it's really interesting. I think we're going to have a good time. So their company does industrial cleaning, for lack of a better phrase. So let's bring them on and see if that's really what they do or if there's something great. Dave, Stephen, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So am I right? Industrial cleaning, is that an accurate short description of what you do?
Well, it is part of what we do. Commercial cleaning is really our bread and butter, the standard janitorial type services. But we've gotten into a lot of industrial space as well. And so, whereas when we first started, we thought probably office buildings and any commercial spaces that are essentially anything that's, we say anything where people don't go to sleep is it's up for grabs. But we've kind of progressed and taken some customers that we didn't expect to take when we first started, and so now we say that we are commercial and industrial.
All right, so how long have you been doing this?
I've been in this business for about 10 years now.
Okay.
Level 7 was started in 2012. I had a cleaning business in Savannah that I owned and operated for about 3.5 years, and moved here to get married in 2012, and sold the Savannah operations and started the exact same business model here.
Now, was this something that you said, I'm a wee lad and, hey, cleaning business, that's what I want to do?
Yeah.
I've never heard
this my whole life.
I've never heard someone say, I want to when I grow up.
Yeah.
So what said this is the business I want to be in?
Well, there was definitely a progression, and it is an interesting business model, which is not one that people often think about. Although there's certainly a ton of business out there for it. It's a service that everyone needs, and so everybody's a prospect. But of course, it's also a very cluttered field, and it can be very competitive. But I guess we can get into the challenges.
Really, a cluttered field? So there's a lot of competitors?
There are commercial cleaning businesses on every corner.
So what's like the average customer? Who are you going after that there's so many people in this business that are also going after?
Commercial property managers.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so we're talking like warehouses, or we're talking
office buildings, warehouses. Yeah, absolutely. So the industrial side is a little bit different, and there are industry groups that tend to focus more on industrial type facilities, and then there are certain industry groups that's within the property management world. There are a lot of different types of niches, obviously, but so it is a little bit of a different beast to do what we do in a industrial facility.
So we're sitting here at 3411 Co-working, which is Chambly's own co-office space. Would this be a customer? Will you come in and clean there?
Yeah, so somebody's cleaning up around here, and it could be the occupants, it could be the owners, it could be
or they could hire you.
Absolutely.
All right. So before we leave,
well, just to kind of touch on the history of it, I actually when I was in college, a friend of mine, Chris Spivey, and I had a little office cleaning business that we started, and we went and bought a vacuum cleaner and started knocking on doors, and we didn't want to flip burgers, and we wanted to work on our own time, and it was like pretty good money for what we did, and so it was it was not a major operation by any stretch, but it was just a little pocket cash for us, and then fast forward many years later, Chris and I both wound up in the restaurant business, and I never thought about the cleaning business as a viable option, a career to get into, until I heard about some people with commercial cleaning businesses, and people doing well with it, and I thought that is an interesting model.
You said, aha, I used to do that.
Yeah, right. And so I kind of I'll keep the long story as short as I can, but I came to a career crossroads and in the recession of 2008-9, and was looking for something to do, and I was really fascinated by a friend of mine who remains a friend of mine to this day, and he's got a friendly competition of ours here in Atlanta. We talk to him frequently, but he and I talked a lot about his business, and which is contract commercial cleaning, and I was intrigued, so I started my own business in Savannah, and then wound up moving here in 2012, like I said.
So now, Dave, your partner, you have an equity stake in this?
Yes.
Okay. And so how did y'all get together? Stephen, you said, hey, I need a partner. Let me reach out to Dave, or how did that form?
You want to take this one?
Sure. So I was in the landscape industry for about 15 years prior to joining up with Level 7. And, I was just an employee at the company, and I ran the maintenance and chemical divisions, but I took a lot of ownership in what I did, and I kind of reached a peak where I wasn't going to grow anymore, and so I was talking around trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to do something. I wanted to have ownership in what I did, and a mutual friend of ours said, hey, you need to call Steven at Level 7. He's got a good thing going on. And so after talking for a couple of weeks, decided to give it a shot, and I came on as an employee, as a sales associate, or for lack of a better term, but started working for Level 7, and I was there probably about 6 months, and after 6 months we knew it was a good fit. Our alignment of what we, how we looked at business, where we wanted to go, everything seemed to gel really well, and so I, at that point, bought into the company in September of 16.
So are there other equity partners, or is it just the two of y'all?
We do have one other guy that's in a minority stake, and so he's got a little bit of skin in the game.
Okay.
But Dave and I are the primary.
The primary.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm really interested to hear a story that you told me, Stephen, when we first met, about one of your biggest clients. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that on the air?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Who's your biggest client?
Well,
or maybe they're not your biggest client.
Well, they actually are, I would say, and we've got some other big ones too. We're proud of, but yeah, they are our biggest, I would say, in its Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and
the stadium itself.
Yeah, we work for our contract is with A&B Sports Entertainment, who's owns and operates the stadium.
So you're cleaning the entire Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yes, sort of. Not the entire stadium, though. No. What we do is what's called the bowl cleaning, and so that's the seating area.
You're talking about the toilets.
Not that bowl. Actually, not that bowl.
Not that bowl.
A whole different bowl. Specifically, we don't do the bathrooms at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but so they do a lot of the. I don't know. I guess I'd say the majority of the cleaning is done in-house, but we partner with them to clean the seating areas, which is, it's a major undertaking after every event. So.
And what does that entail?
Well, so after each event, we have a crew that comes in and we pick up all the trash, and it's not, at a stadium, everybody throws their trash on the
Right.
floor. Nobody takes their
No
trash.
one cares to go
Yep.
take it to the trash can.
Yep, you're walking on trash as you're walking through the aisle. So we have a crew that comes through and we pick up all the trash, and we do it in 3 separate picks because they are a zero waste facility, which means, we're coming through, we're picking all the aluminum, we're picking all the plastic, and then everything else is compostable. And so we separate all 3 of those different products in different bags, and we take them all up to the concourses.
That's impressive. I like that.
Yeah.
That was their requirement?
That was their requirement. And then we come through and we blow and sweep all the remaining, popcorn and anything else that's on the floor. Then we'll have another crew that'll come in. We pressure wash every seat in the building. And following the pressure washing, then we'll come in and we'll detail everything, make sure there's no standing water, making sure that any blowback from pressure washing, anything got on the seats, everything's nice and clean, and then we turn the bowl over for the next event.
And this happens on what type of timeline?
Typically, it's about 24 hours.
Yeah.
So if an event ends, for example, say at 10 p.m., we're in there at 11:30 p.m. when we start the pick. And then probably 3 hours following, we'll have, the blowers come in. Mm-hmm. And the blowers come in and blow everything down. An hour after they get started, we're pressure washing. And then probably 6 hours after that, we're coming in and detailing everything. And
Because they may have an event the very next night.
Well, if they have an event the next night, it's tricky. We could have 12 hours to turn the stadium, and it's 70,000 seats. It's a lot of work in order to get everything ready to go for the next
So
day.
we're talking after every Falcons game, after every Atlanta United game, after every concert, after every motocross event, anything they do there, y'all are coming in right afterwards.
Absolutely.
Do they? Because I've seen and observed some of the fans that go to these sporting events and different events. It can be a rowdy bunch.
We've seen.
You talking about yourself, Eric?
No.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, what you get after certain types of events, and sometimes it's it can be predictable. I mean, we were new to this in 2017 when they had the first concert there, the Garth Brooks concert, and we were told that the country concerts can be the worst.
He brought out all his friends in low places.
Yeah, apparently so. And it was something else. I'll tell you, I was surprised. I think the cleanest I've ever seen it was after the Jay-Z Beyonce show. It was just pristine. We didn't have to do much. I don't know. I don't know why, but
People weren't in the seats. They were
classic
dancing
fans.
around.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that was it. They weren't going and buying concessions. They were dancing, having a good time.
So you're still using the leaf blowers, right? When you blow through the
Yes,
seats?
they're battery powered as well. So
Oh.
it's a green. They're not going to produce any emissions.
Yeah.
And so we come.
That's the
through.
most efficient way to go about it.
No.
It's the cleanest and greenest.
As far as emissions are concerned, a gas-powered, high-power blower that would create a bunch of emissions would be the most efficient way to go about doing it.
Right.
However, with the green initiative at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, we use battery-powered blowers.
Yeah, I think, didn't you tell me, Stephen, that Mercedes-Benz is very big on y'all, since you work for them, trying to partner with initiatives like that? You had wanted to know what kind of organizations in the area that you could partner with to give back.
They are a really community-minded organization, and the lady that we work with directly is she's just awesome, and a real dynamic person who genuinely cares about people in the community, and that's she's just passionate about that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so she has, and coincidentally, she used to own and operate a commercial cleaning company before she did what she's
So
doing
she
now.
knows what you go
She
through.
knows, and she has worked for stadiums in the same position that we're in. That's kind of how she got into the role that she's in. She met Scott Jenkins, the GM, years ago in that capacity. But at any rate. So we are working towards, and that's how I met you, Van, originally, was we're trying to get with community groups, whether it's a church or a school that's raising funds, or any sort of nonprofit, any fundraising group, to create a program where they come in and help us do some of the menial stuff that doesn't require a lot of skill. Put some gloves on and grab some bags, and it can be kind of a team building type of deal. And okay, you guys y'all are assigned to these sections, and you pick the trash out of these sections, and then a donation is made to their cause. So we're still kind of that program is still in the works, but that's when you and I first sat down. That's what we were talking about. So.
Well, let's circle back to the business itself, because that is a great story about Mercedes-Benz, and I hope that relationship lasts a long time. But tell me about the business itself. So it's my understanding, when you bring in crews like that, especially when you're bringing in a large number, because how many people do you take to the stadium?
Anywhere between 350 to 500 people.
So you don't have 350 employees, correct?
No.
Correct.
Your organization is really pretty small.
Yeah.
How many employees are there?
So, I think we have somewhere in the 20s of actual W-2 employees.
W-2 employees. Full-time employees that work for you. Everyone else is a temp worker.
And then, we do have a number of regular 1099 subcontractors too that I would not consider a temp.
They're coming back
people
event after event after event.
Us, yeah, and
but they're just not on salary.
Yeah, no, everybody that is at the stadium is I would consider temporary work because it's so spotty and so it's hard to keep people.
Do you find it hard to get people to work at 3 a.m. cleaning a stadium?
That's our biggest challenge. Trying to come up with 150 people who want to.
So let's talk about that. What do you do? I mean, where do you go somewhere? Is there like a third party that you can go to and say, hey, we need employees?
We do a lot of networking. We do a lot of work on Facebook. We do Craigslist. We do Indeed. We reach out, and then anybody who comes, your friends want to come. We're always trying to.
So you tell the people that have done it, hey, bring your other friends. We
money.
need as many as you can.
And it's good money for a second.
What do you mean by
job.
good money? Like what is, if I wanted to come clean the stadium, what am I going to get paid?
You are typically.
I need to see if I'm going to get out of the financial planning business.
You got to be trained first.
Oh, I know. As a financial planner, I have no skills.
No, I guess good money is relative, but we typically pay $13 an hour,
That's
for
pretty
guys to
good.
come in, and as a second job, it's what most people do, and they'll come in, on a Saturday night, work for 8 hours, get whatever that is, $200, and call it a night, and it's cool because you get to go in this great grand arena and it's just a cool thing to do, and people like to do it. So it is hard to find people, and the most difficult part about it is if you don't have the same consistent people training the people and having them have a general understanding what the ultimate goal is, and developing systems and getting everybody to accomplish that goal and be on the same page. And when you have 150 people coming in, and for the most part, we typically have the same crews, but there is absolutely turnover for each event. And so there's training all the time. We're consistently training, and there are a lot of different aspects of it that change each event. So we're, for an Atlanta United game, it might be a 200 level event, so they don't have the third floor open, or, for this past weekend, we had the Monster Truck Jam, which is dirt. So they bring in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loads of dirt, which creates dust all over the place, which is a challenge in itself. Pressure wash, get everything washed down to the bottom, and the bottom seats are just caked with dirt. And the drains get stopped with mud. And
Did you have to wait for them to get all the dirt off the center floor before you did all that?
Well, so Monster Jam was this past weekend, and this coming weekend is Supercross. So it's another dirt event. So the dirt's actually staying in the stadium.
They just kept it in there.
And so they're bringing it out next Tuesday.
So when you're pressure washing, you're putting water, is that like affecting their setup? And
oh no, it's not getting down on the
it's
field.
not getting all the way to the
there are
floor.
drains at the bottom, that'll pull it up.
Interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit more before we take our commercial break about what it took to start this business. So we heard the story before earlier. You told us the story. You know, what was that like? You know, did you have to buy equipment? I mean, I don't know. You mentioned when you were in college, you bought a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
I have a feeling there was a little bit more than a vacuum cleaner with this endeavor.
That's true. That's true. Although, you know, it is a relatively low entry point to open a commercial cleaning business. You could, if you have a car and you put a magnet on it and buy a vacuum cleaner and a broom, and say you're a commercial cleaning company. The first thing we had to do was build a really good website. Because that's how people find you these days, obviously. So we were working on our website and SEO before we even started knocking on doors trying to get business. It's hard to sell a business without a website. So that was the first 3 months, really. It was getting the website up and running. It's actually, my sister has a marketing company in Greensboro, North Carolina, and Red Letter Marketing, little shout out there.
There you go.
They
You can give her a
a
plug.
little plug. They do.
What was it again?
Red Letter Marketing.
RedLetterMarketing.com?
Yeah. I would
All
say,
right.
Yeah,
Go to
that's it.
RedLetterMarketing.com.
So if you want a sample of Red Letter's work, you go to
Your website.
www.l7fs.com. Which
Good,
stands
Aaron.
for-
Good job.
Excellent. So
I like that.
thank you. L7FS stands for Level 7 Facility Services, obviously.
How did you come up with that name?
So that's a question I wish we had a better answer to, really. We've often said we need to come up with a better answer.
A backstory.
Yeah, right. I mean, come up with something that's halfway interesting, but actually, it was that was a task that we put on Red Letter too, was help us come up with the brand.
Okay.
My business in Savannah, I named it Facilicare, and it's still going down there, and it was and so I wasn't sure if I wanted to. And at least that name really says fairly plainly what it does. And I wasn't sure if I wanted something a little bit more, nebulous, or if it was more direct. And wanted to say whatever. Atlanta.
I mean, have you ever gotten someone go, L7, what do you do?
we do get that question. So
Wait, you're a commercial cleaner? That's not what I thought you did.
Yeah, I know. And so there's a little bit of danger in that. And you can speak to some of that later if you want, or we can talk about it now. But we often talk about that. Should we be more direct in what we do in the name of our business? The reason that we decided to keep it a little bit ambiguous is because we do a lot of other things too. We provide other ancillary services other than just
Give an example.
floor refinishing,
Oh, okay.
glass cleaning, carpet detailing,
Glass cleaning. So you're talking about like
pressure washing.
the outside of a building?
Yeah.
Are you the guys in the scaffolding coming down the building?
No,
you don't do that?
We partner with a company that does the road
that.
stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
but a lot of times we'll have a property manager that, that they just want us to include that in our scope, and we just bring in our partner, and the partner takes care of it. So if it's lift accessible or ladder accessible, our guys can handle that, and we do it in house. But definitely we don't do the high rise stuff. But we got a great partner that does.
Okay.
But in answer to your question about Level 7 and the origins of the name, I asked for a list of ideas, and I gave him kind of carte blanche, and I just said, I don't know, let's come up with something that we can build a brand on. And they came back with, I don't know, let's say 30 or 40 ideas, and some of them were just off the wall, and some of them were like, maybe. A couple of them sounded like drugs or something, like the names they came up with for new pharmaceuticals. But anyway,
Yeah, I guess you don't want to call yourself Cialis, right?
maybe.
Got a stain? Go see Alice.
Nice. I like that. Hey, that's good. You're gonna get hired by Red Letter if you're not careful. So Level 7 was on the list, and as soon as I saw it, I thought that's got a nice ring to it. It's a lot of people consider the number 7 lucky, and who needs luck more than a startup business? It just sounds like something that I like the sound of it. That's pretty much the short answer right there. So we decided to build a brand on it.
Well, we have to take a short commercial break for our sponsors, but when we come back, we're going to play a fun game that we like to play called Hot or Not. And so stay tuned right after this commercial break.
Do you want to know the 7 biggest retirement blunders that people make with their money? Go to oxygenfinancial.net and get our free retirement guide and learn how to take control of your retirement plan here in 2019. Blunder number 2 has to do with the government and taxes. And blunder number 4 is something important to do with all of your IRA accounts. Worst of all is blunder number 3. Go to oxygenfinancial.net right now to get your free 7 biggest retirement blunders guide and get your 2019 off to the right financial start.
Looking for an affordable, functional, and creative space to work? Check out 3411 Co-working in downtown Chamblee. They have flexible month-to-month office space options that include fiber internet, meeting rooms, printing, coffee, snacks, and networking events. 3411 Co-working is the perfect place for entrepreneurs, remote workers, and small business owners looking for a one-stop shop for your professional needs. Stop by for a tour Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and see how 3411 Co-working can work for you.
All right, welcome back to Between Two Trains. We have Stephen Tomlinson and Dave Hollister from Level 7. You can listen to Between Two Trains on our website, betweentwotrains.com, or if you're in your car, pick up whatever podcast you like, app you like listening to your podcast on. We're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play. So pull up your favorite podcasts and listen to us in the car. In fact, Eric, I've said this many times. Sometimes I think if you're in your car, you could get an MBA just from listening to us.
I'll tell you, that's the beauty of all the traffic around town, is it gives you the opportunity to listen to things that are enjoyable.
Yeah, especially like Stephen and Dave's story.
It's
So we're
it's
gonna play Hot or Not. I'll take the first one. So I like using this from time to time, and either one of y'all can answer this. Hot or not, being married to an entrepreneur?
Not.
It's not hot. So is that how your wife would answer? She'd be like, this sucks.
Yeah, surely there's some challenges there. I mean, I don't know. Dave and I kind of always made it a priority to say that we want a healthy work-life balance, and we want our staff to have that. And we don't want to work ourselves into the ground. And so maybe it's not so bad in our case, but it can be very demanding, obviously.
Especially those beginning years.
Yes, for sure.
When you're just trying to, hustle it up.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah.
Your
wife's like, why aren't you not at home?
Yeah.
The kids don't know what you look like.
Yeah, right.
At that point, it's work-life choices, not necessarily balance.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So, question, hot or not, owner-occupied commercial real estate or investment property? Which one is hotter, I would say?
I would say owner-occupied. Dealing with the actual owner is on a more of a personal, I don't know. Maybe it would be an investment if we're talking about property managers. Maybe a property manager would be more likely, because when we're looking at big office buildings, those are typically going to be property management.
Right.
So
CRB, those kind of companies.
some of the bigger companies, and you're not going to actually deal with the owner of CBRE.
Right.
You're going with the property manager. So now I changed my answer.
All right.
So do you have to, let's talk a little bit about that before we do another hot or not. You go into these, are you literally knocking on the manager's door and saying, hey, we're a commercial company, or?
We do a lot of networking. There is some cold calling with some of the bigger companies. It's difficult to get your foot in the door without some sort of relationship prior to. So, we have gotten some accounts by just going up and knocking on doors and saying, hey, we're Stephen and Dave. We've got a commercial cleaning company. We'd love a shot at your building, and you catch them at the right time where they're angry with our current cleaner, and sure enough, you get a bid opportunity. But for the most part, it's a lot of networking.
How's that bid opportunity? I've been involved with stuff like that for other situations, but are you finding, okay, we go in, we make our pitch, and we lose that out to someone else, and what do you do at that point? Do you research to find out, how are they cheaper than us? Do you have a pretty good feel what your competition is charging?
We try to, yeah. We always, if we don't win a bid, we want to know why, for sure. And so, we always thank people for the opportunity, and needless to say, we're disappointed if we didn't get the contract, but we'll ask them. If you don't mind us asking, Was it a pricing issue? Was there something else? And give us a little education from every chance we get. So
I call that the post-mortem.
yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly.
So you've got 20 some odd regular W-2 employees. Two of y'all, there's the other minority owner, or there's some upper level managers in between you and those employees?
Yeah.
All right. So my question is, my hot or not is sharing financials with those lower employees, whether it's manager or lower. How much of your financials do you say, yeah, this is what we've done? This is how much revenue we did.
I think it's hot.
Yeah.
You think it's hot? You
Yeah.
think you should do that as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the more you share with the people that are helping you grow the company, the more they take ownership and the more they want to get involved. And with learning business as you're growing, if they don't have any idea of what it takes, we're charging $200, a month for this, and we're paying $100 a month. Like, oh, the company's making $100. No, the company's not making $100. By the end of the day, we're making, $10 a month or whatever it is. But just having that general idea and educating everybody and letting them know and understand, why we are where we are and how we're going to get to where we want to be is really important in my book.
And we've always said that what we really want to try to create is an entrepreneurial culture where everybody kind of feels empowered to succeed in their own entrepreneurial world, in a sense. I mean, so obviously that's, on the business development side, you've got sales reps, they really control their own destiny. But we want that to be as true as it can be. We want that to be the case for everybody that works with us. And not just the people who do the work in the field, but management too. We try to explain exactly what a good job looks like and empower them to do it and reward them when it is done well.
Now, is there opportunities for growth outside of just the Metro Atlanta area? I mean, is this something that we could say, hey, let's franchise this, or let's one of our employees, hey, we're gonna mentor him into entrepreneurship, and he's gonna open a place in Charlotte or Savannah or somewhere else.
It's possible down the road, yeah. In fact, we have kicked around some opportunities that recently that would take us down to Tampa potentially, but it's we're not going to branch out that far unless there's a lot of good reason to go there, and because it would obviously eat up a lot of our bandwidth. So
I would think that also there's so much business just here in the Metro Atlanta area.
Exactly. So we're not in any hurry to get out of the greater metro. I think that may happen once we've grown to a point where all of our systems are really ironed out well. I mean, I think we're getting pretty close to that point where, operationally speaking, it's starting to get some kind of, I won't say cruise control, but it's ironing out. Our systems are getting traction. So
you feel like you can go on vacation now.
yeah, exactly.
We've always said that we want to develop our systems to the point where we can have a book of this is how we do it the level 7 way. Here, go and open level 7 Charleston.
And an SOP manual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more hot or not, unless you got one.
I've got
one
more hot.
Okay, go for it.
Before all the dust settles.
Okay, go for it.
I don't know. Dust settling probably makes these guys uncomfortable. But this is kind of a little evolution of hot or not. It's almost like a would you rather. So assuming the same square footage, would you rather have a strip mall or a single skyrise, if that makes sense, with multiple floors?
Skyrise.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
And
just
why-
easier to manage.
Yeah. Every floor in a vertical structure is going to be pretty much the same. So it's just sort of
blueprint.
Like, yeah, it's a blueprint. You do it on this floor, you do it on this floor, and you just do it over and over and over again. For the most part. Now, granted, you can have some variations, but.
Whereas you go down here to Peachtree Station with the Whole Foods, you got a restaurant, then you've got a medical, then you got a grocery store,
Right.
then you got okay.
Different needs for different locations, and generally in an office, a vertical office structure, everybody's clocking out at 5 or 6, and that's when we come in, do our thing. In a retail setting, it could be all over the map.
Well, we have come to the end of our time, but before we go, tell us again the website, and also if we have a listener out there who is the manager of an office building or just needs some commercial cleaning, how do you want them to get a hold of you?
Well, our website is l7fs.com. That's the letter L, number 7, F as in facilities, S as in services.com. And if you go to the website, it's pretty easy to figure out how to get in touch with us.
They can give you a call from
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. Call or click the contact us link, and the email will show up right on my smartphone.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on here.
you.
Eric,
Yeah,
any
absolutely.
parting words of wisdom from Chase Bank?
No, just go out there and get it done each and every day. It's
Is that what your football coach told you at Notre Dame? Y'all didn't know Eric was a Notre Dame football
No
hero.
kidding.
Oh, wow.
that's right. Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah. Try not to act too surprised.
Yeah.
No, each day's a gift, and it's clear these guys went out and hustled and built their business, and you got to do that not just professionally but personally. And so go out there and get it. Carpe the diem.
Amen.
Thank you, Eric. And thanks everyone for listening to the show. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another great guest on Between Two Trains.